everyone, welcome to another Tuesday edition over here at the Siberian Wind. I'm Tammy. I'm the Siberian Wind. I'm glad you all could make it. I do see I've already got some people in the chat. I've got Joyce and Judy and Mona. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here. Deb S, the Pug Mama Quilter, is in here as well. Welcome in. I think it's the first time I've seen you in my chat, so welcome. Glad you could make it. So Tuesday nights we kind of do a lot of chatting and not as much sewing. We are going to get some sewing done tonight. You guys get a special treat. I have my customer's quilt that we are going to do a test block for and see if it's coming out the way that I designed it and make sure that it's going to work. I've also got a little bit of a show and tell that I did, and so you guys will get to see that as well. Let me put my phone away, get it off of my table. So welcome in, everybody. I am glad you are here. If you do have a channel, if you have a YouTube channel, you can always do exclamation and selfie in my chat, and that will put a link up to your channel. Let me go in and make an adjustment real quick because it does look like my video is a little blurry. I don't know if you guys are seeing it as blurry, but I definitely am. So let's see if that helps any with the blurry. I'm not sure if it is or not. Let me zoom in real quick and see. Okay, it looks like it's helping a little bit. It's not helping the greatest, but yeah, gotta love technical difficulties, right? So we are going to do our Jelly Roll Friendly project this week. We're going to go, I have not put the lives on yet, so if you are looking for the lives, they are not already posted, but that is the first thing I will be doing once we get off of the live tonight. I see Deb is already doing the exclamation selfie, so we're going to make sure Nightbot is working. Yes, Nightbot is working. Nightbot likes me. Yay. Yay, that is always half the battle, to make sure that Nightbot is going to like me for whatever reason, whatever day. So I'm glad you guys are here, and we are here a little early. I usually, do start my lives just a little bit before the posted time when I can. I am of the opinion that if I am running on time, that I'm actually late. So, you're fine, Deb. I love it. If you guys have not checked out Deb's channel, you've got a link in the comments to go check out her channel. Chloe has joined the chat. Welcome in, Chloe. Good evening to you. Good evening. So yeah, I'm not going to sew on anything until we actually go live at the normal time. So that is one thing that I try to do, is that if I am going live a little early, I try to make sure that everything that we do before the actual live time is just chit chat and catching up. It's not anything significant or anything like that. So you guys aren't going to miss anything within the first, how many ever minutes I get logged on early. So how have you all been doing? I know this has been, I know I've seen some of you Sunday night in my chat, but we have been under the air quality warnings lately. We have a lot of fire smoke coming through from Montana and Canada and Pacific Northwest, just flowing in through our air. So I can't tell if there's clouds. I can't tell, beyond the fact that there's daylight. I can't tell what kind of daylight we have because it is all covered in smoke. So that is one of the disadvantages of being up in the higher elevations, where I'm at about 5,100 feet. So I am at one of the higher elevations. We are going to see how long my light lasts. My service dog just rolled into my tripod that my light is on, and it is sitting kind of precariously. So we're going to see how long it lasts. If you guys hear a loud crash halfway through the production tonight, you know that the light probably fell. So don't be alarmed. It's not on. It's not turned on. I do have a remote, so I could turn it on from here if I wanted it, but I don't. I need to give my eyes a little bit of a break from all the LED lights. So, yeah, I'm glad you all are here. I'm going to pull one of these down. If you guys have not seen these, I'm actually going to pull a couple of them down. If you guys have not seen these are micro minis. So I know they're kind of hard to see on the big camera, the big screen. Let's see, Judy says it's been pouring rain after a long dry spell. Oh goodness. There's Quilting in the Man Cave. Welcome in, Rob. He says, hiya Tammy and everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Glad you made it, sir. And here's Andrea joining the chat. She says, howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope everyone has had an awesome day. I'll be watching on my TV, so I'll not be able to chat, but want to say howdy. Welcome in. Glad you are here. Deb says that they had another thunderstorm this afternoon. My goodness, everybody is getting all this rain. Well, I know that the wildfires could probably use some. I think this time last year we were actually getting a little bit of rain. We didn't have any fire, like smoke overcast or whatever. I think until August last year. We had a lot more rain last year than what we've got this year. So it's kind of disappointing that we don't have enough to keep us going, keep us out of this smoke. There's Katie. Welcome in. She says, hello, Tammy. Welcome in, Katie. Glad you made it. Thank you, sweetie. All right, so these are what I just pulled off my wall. These are the micro minis. These are leftover pieces from the Star Systems quilt. So last night when I went to my quilt group, I took some time and just cut on some more of these. So now I've got enough to do, I think, 6 more blocks or 8 more blocks, something like that. I didn't go all the way to 10 like I thought I would. I didn't get them all done, but I did get, some more of these cut. So I'm not going to piece on it tonight, but in case you guys have missed these or anything like that, I wanted to show them off a little bit. These will finish at 2.5 inches. So when I say they're micro mini, I mean they are micro mini. These were, Judy says, I love the micro mini squares. I love them too. They're so much fun because even though it takes a lot of effort because you are working with something that is so tiny and you just have to take your time and breathe and, be patient with yourself, they are so stinking adorable. And there went my light. I didn't even make it halfway through the broadcast. Now my dog is inspecting it. That's what he gets for laying up against it. So yeah, these will finish at 2.5 inches in the finished quilt. So yeah, I just wanted to pull those off and show them off to you guys in case you have not caught me sewing on them lately. I've got 6 of them up on the wall and I've got several more of them cut. So I'm going to go over real quick what we are doing. Mona is saying, hi everyone, lurking and trimming fabric. No worries, Mona. I do that quite frequently. All right, so you guys have seen this. This is, I posted it in the community page. This is what we are going to be doing on this is our Jelly Roll Friendly project. That's what we're going to call it. Now, the original pattern was issued out. Oh, hang on. I got to have my pattern in front of me. I want to make sure I don't mess anything up. All right. The lady who taught this to me, her name is... I want to make sure I get her first name because Denise Freed. She is a quilter out of North Dakota. Yes, Katie, thank you. She said y'all hit that thumbs up like button, everyone. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate it. All right, so here's the angle. The pattern originally, Denise saw it somewhere and could not find the actual pattern. It's kind of like one of those Pinterest things where you see something on Pinterest and you can't find the pattern. It's kind of like that. So she figured out how to make it, and when I went and took the class, I asked her permission if I could teach this on our channel here over at the Siberian Wind, and she agreed that we would be allowed to teach this. So you guys, we have a wonderful benefactress who is graciously letting us teach this. I mean, she came up with a pattern from after seeing it, and I want to do it. All right, so this is one block. So the original one that she gave me the instructions for is for 99 blocks. We are going to make it slightly different, just because we can. So we are going to make 130 blocks, and these are going to be 6-inch blocks, and it is going to have a 6-inch border. So I'm going to show you from her original pattern what hers looks like, and this is not 99 blocks. This is, I believe it was 90 blocks. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I believe it's 90 blocks on here. Okay. So this is the original that we are going off of. All right. So it doesn't show up as well as the actual quilt pieces do. But so you will have your blocks here in the center. And again, I'm doing 130. And 130 blocks will come out to be a 60-inch by 78-inch quilt, including your 6.5-inch border strips. Okay. So you will have 6-inch blocks, 6-inch finished blocks, and a 6.5-inch border strip all the way around. Okay. This is the Jelly Roll Friendly project that we are going to start on Friday. We're going to start it on Friday. We're not going to start it on Thursday. I would normally try to start these on Thursday, so it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This time we're going to have to run Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I do have my infusion on Thursday, and it is usually a best bet that I am going to need to take the rest of Thursday just to rest and let my body, take a break. So Thursday I'm not planning anything, so we will start this on Friday. We are going to do 2 o'clock Mountain Time. You know what? Hang on. Let me check one thing, you guys. I want to make sure I'm telling you the right times. Bear with me just a moment, because I think the times have to adjust. Let's see. Okay. Okay. I'd forgotten to look at one thing. I called my husband. I double checked everything else, but I forgot to look at one thing. And no, I'm still good. So Friday 2 p.m. Mountain Time, Saturday 2 p.m. Mountain Time, and then Sunday 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So we're going to do 3 days in a row. With these patterns, remember that I do always issue you a full follow along sheet for the entire pattern at the conclusion of the whole lesson. So you guys will get the whole follow along sheet for what you're doing. You will get that on Sunday after the broadcast is done. Oh Lord, you guys, this puppy dog is needing to settle today. So Friday we're going to be online for probably about 2 hours, from 2 to 4 Mountain Time. Saturday we'll be online for about 2 hours, 2 to 4 again Mountain Time. And then Sunday as well, 2 to 4 Mountain Time. And that will give us enough time to go over all of the instructions, answer any questions that you have, all of that, and then you will have the pattern issue. Glenda, no worries. She says hello to me and everyone. Late again. No worries, no worries. I'm just going over the basics of our Jelly Roll Friendly quilt. This is a generous gift by a benefactress named Denise Freed. She is a quilt teacher out of North Dakota. She taught this class at Quilt Wyoming and has graciously granted me permission to use her pattern as the starting point for our quilt. Okay, so I did say it's going to be Jelly Roll Friendly. So, with that being said, there are 2 ways that you can do this quilt, okay? You can do it from Yardage, or you can do it from Jelly Rolls. If you only have jelly roll fabric, your quilt is going to end up smaller. Okay, if you can do this from Yardage, you can make this quilt 60 inches by 78 inches, which is a very good size throw. When I do Quilts of Valor, the general size is, loving the border, I do too, and it is a mitered border. So I am going to show you guys how to do that mitered border. So you guys will get to see all four corners of that border are mitered, and that is what we are going to do. We are going to do all four of them mitered. So it's actually really easy to put together. The mitered border probably is the most difficult. A lot of it is just a little time consuming to assemble, but it's not anything that you haven't already done, especially if you've done cut and chiseled. This is nothing that you haven't already done. You can do everything in this if you did cut and chiseled. If you didn't do cut and chiseled, but you saw it and you feel confident with that, this will be super simple. This is a beginner friendly pattern. The mitered borders is kind of the skill set learning that you'll come across with this pattern. So in order to make it 60 inches by 78 inches, and I did put all the information in the description box below. I did do that before the live. You will need if you're going to do it 130 squares, which is what I'm going to do mine. That is going to be, and that's going to be for the 60 by 78. Judy, you're absolutely right. She says this would make a great boy or man quilt. Yes. And when you are looking at the blocks, this would also be a great fussy cut quilt. So if you have something that would fit in a 2-inch square, like you can fussy cut a 2-inch square, you're going to be cutting at 2.5 inches. But if you can fussy cut, you know, a pattern that would land in there, if you are going to do that you do need to plan extra fabric, okay? I did not plan extra fabric for that, so you would need to plan extra fabric for that. Joy says I have only yardage. That is perfectly fine. That is actually what I used for mine, and all of mine are going to have this same grunge white and grunge black. This quilt also looks fantastic, absolutely fantastic, with scrappy. So if you have scraps that you want to go through, you absolutely can. So when I listed what you need in the description box, let me pull up the description box so I can make sure I'm reading exactly the way that it is written. You will need 130 2.5-inch squares of your multiple different colors. That is going to be your centers. Whatever you want your centers to be, that is what you need 130 of. Okay? Now for each of these blocks, you will need 130 of your 3-inch squares. Okay? So you will need 130 3-inch squares of a fabric that reads like a black or a very dark color, or for example, if you wanted to do, let me make sure I'm in front of the camera so I can see it. This is a red fabric, but it reads very dark. You can actually pull this quilt off very well with fabrics like that as your darks. And then you just need fabrics that read very light as your, quote, white, okay? So for your black fabric, you would need 290 2.5-inch squares and 130 3-inch squares. And then you need the same amount for your white, 290 2.5-inch squares and 130 3-inch squares. If you are using this from Yardage, if you are wanting to just pull your yardage out, for your colored fabrics, I did not do a yardage estimate because I'm assuming, and this is, yeah, I know, you never assume things, but for your colored centers, I'm assuming that you want to do multiple different colors, and you absolutely can. If you don't want to, that is okay. If you want to do everything in one particular fabric, let's say you want to do San Francisco 49ers fabric, or you want to do Blues Clues, or you want to do, Superman, whatever you want to do as your center fabric. Oh, Nancy's joined the chat. Welcome in, Nancy. I promise I am looking at the chat. I can't see it completely, but I can see some of it. So I see your name. I'll be able to see the full chat in just a second. So if you want to do all of your centers, I did not put this in the chat or in the description box. If you want to do all of your centers out of one fabric, you will need a minimum of 5/8 yard. If you are fussy cutting, you will need more yardage than that, okay, in order to get 130 squares. If you're not going to fussy cut, if you're just going to cut straight off the bolts, however, you can cut 5/8 yard and you will have plenty. For your whites or your lights, for the center of the quilt, you need 2 3/4 of a yard, okay? 2 3/4 of a yard, and then same thing for your dark. So if you're going to do all your dark fabric out of the same, you need 2 3/4 yard. Now, if you're going to do a couple of different fabrics, like let's say you're going to do some in black, some in dark red, and then you're doing some in white, some in gray, however you're going to do these, those are your grand totals of what you need in order to do that. And I did put in there, I don't think I put the yardage in there. Let me see if I did. No, I put the 2 3/4 yard of the black and white fabrics. You will need an additional 3/4 of a yard of your black and a 3/4 of your yardage for the white. So whatever your dark is, whatever your light is, you'll need 3/4 of a yard in order to do your borders. Okay. So the other thing that I put in here, and I put it in the description box, but I'm not doing this version. Okay, if you want to use just jelly rolls, let's say you have a massive supply of jelly roll sized fabrics. You've already got your jelly roll sized scraps cut. You don't want to cut any extra fabric. You are just trying to use up scraps. You absolutely can do that. Now, I did not size up. I didn't make extra blocks, so you're only still going to be making 130 blocks. In order to make your color squares, you will need 9 jelly roll strips. 9 full jelly roll strips. If you are going to do your blacks and your whites out of jelly roll strips and you don't have 3-inch squares or 3-inch strips to be able to go with it, and you want to just use your 2.5 inch, you will need 35 strips of your light fabric and 35 strips of a dark fabric. So your quilt will be significantly different because most jelly roll packs, for example, don't have 35 darks or 35 lights. So you would need multiple different jelly rolls to do this. But if you already have 2.5 inch strips cut from your stash, and you just have a bucket of 2.5 inch strips, you can still do this. It is going to come out to be a 4.5 inch block instead of a 6 inch block. So your quilt is going to be 45 inches wide by 58.5 long. So it's going to be more of a crib quilt or an oversized wall hanging. Okay. And you can make more or less blocks depending on what you want to do with a quilt. But they are super easy to put together, super fast. And one block at a time is super fast. I don't sew anything one block at a time usually. But you guys will get to see one block go together, and then we will start chain piecing everything together. Okay, so there's going to be, a little bit of homework between each day. So after we get off the live on Friday at 4 p.m. or by 4 p.m., then you'll have some homework for Saturday if you're doing it live with me, and then you'll have homework Saturday in order to be ready for Sunday. And I don't know that everybody's going to catch up to me to do everything on the side or on Sunday on time. If you do, I would be highly shocked. Okay, so do not panic. I love it. Nancy says that she finally got to watch Deb's replay from Sunday with Lisa. I love it. Yes, Chloe, absolutely. I don't want anybody to feel like you can't do this project solely because that's not the kind of scraps you have. So I want you to, and I did ask Denise when she was granting me permission to be able to do this pattern. I did ask for permission to make those alterations so that all of my subscribers would be able to do this without having to necessarily, go out and buy fabric. Okay, so if you just have jelly roll strips, or you have all of that, you absolutely can do this. It's just going to be a smaller quilt, or you have to have more strips. But you guys are going to get to see how that goes together. Now you can, on the strips that you've got to have, I did list the number of squares. That is going to be the same whether you're doing the full size or just with jelly roll strips. Like, you're going to cut the same number. But what we're going to do is, the people who are using just jelly roll strips, you guys will have slightly different instructions because you're going to have to trim everything else down because you won't get a full 2.5 inch. Ooh, you know what? We're gonna have some adjustments. We're gonna have some adjustments. You're actually gonna need, if you're doing the jelly roll version only, if you only are using 2.5 inch strips, you do not need 133 inch squares of black and 133 inch squares of white. You actually need 260. Okay, so you will actually need more than what I wrote in there. So let me go in and make that adjustment real quick. Now that I see it. All right, so instead of needing 35 strips of each, you actually need 45 strips of each. So that is the one adjustment that I had to go make. All right, so that is now updated on the description. So if you are doing jelly roll strips only, you need 45 strips of each of your dark and your light in order to be able to make this quilt. Now granted, the jelly roll only people are going to have a smaller quilt, but that is okay. Judy says, Deb, I have to catch up on everyone's channels. I am right with you. I'm having to catch up on everybody's. That is absolutely where I'm at. I'm having to catch up on everybody's. All right, so I'm gonna press a little bit real quick. So I told you guys, probably before some of you guys got on, just in the chit chat beforehand, what we are going to do today is I have a client quilt that I'm about to start. And one thing that I always do for my client quilts is I do test blocks, or I do tests of whatever. I don't want a client quilt to come out funky or strange or odd or whatever. So I always do tests for everything. And of course I don't have my diagonal seam tape on my table. So we are going to do this by the seat of our pants, because I don't think I even have a pen over here anymore. I cleaned up everything, you guys. I really did. And I think I walked off with things. Let me see if I can mark on this with pencil. So the block that we are doing for the client quilt, and I apologize because there is, you know what? Let me grab extra paper. That should help with the shine through. All right, so this is the basic block. There is a pinwheel here in the center, and I know this is just a line drawing, so I apologize. So there's a pinwheel, and then it is a square and a square, basically. And then we actually have sashing strips, and then we have corner snowballs. Okay, I haven't measured everything on this. We're just going to try to put it together. Deb says, I'm not new to your channel, Tammy. I just usually catch the replays. No worries. No worries. I didn't think you, I knew you weren't, I didn't think you were new. I just know that I don't normally see you in my chat. So I'm glad you made it. I'm very glad you made it. I'm always excited to have people catching up with me. Judy says, Tammy, I cleaned my sewing room and need to relabel all of my drawers. Oh no. Oh gosh. Yay, Jacqueline. Yes, I recognize you. She says hello from Oklahoma. She hasn't watched live for a while, but finally managed to make it. No worries. No worries. I'm glad you made it, sweetie. Glad you made it. I will be honest, I am a huge fan of Tiffany from Tiffany's Quilting Life. Like, I'm a huge fan. Like, if I was to meet her in real life, I would probably be doing the whole fangirling thing and not be able to talk. You know, I'm that kind of thing. But I haven't even caught her channel in a while, you guys. I am that far behind on catching up. You know, I'm managing to do this content and managing to get, you know, keep my doctor's appointments and, you know, just keep my regular life going, much less do anything extra. Glenda says I've been behind for a while, so I don't know if I'll ever catch up. Yeah, I don't think I will either, Glenda. You're in good company. You're in good company. All right, so in order to make this pinwheel, I know this line may be hard to see. Yeah, there we go. It's showing up a little bit. So in order to make the pinwheel for the center of this block, I do have 2 squares that I'm going to sew on either side. And I'm just sewing 1/4 of an inch on either side of that line. And I think I cut these correctly. So that is why I do a test block. Anytime that you are doing something for a client, you're doing something for someone else where they are buying the fabric, and you're not buying the fabric, or you don't know if there's going to be any more fabric available, I always recommend doing a test block with scraps that you don't care about. Judy says, Tammy, your times work well with my schedule. Yay! Yay! Rob says that he finished his caveman quilt as you go string quilt today, except for the label. Well, I guess it's not done then, Rob. You've got to have that label on there. If it's any consolation, I'm going to have to add a label before the Sew and Tell giveaway, because my quilt does not have a label either. It's been done for a while. I actually bound it earlier this year. So, I mean, the quilt top was pieced for years, and it was quilted for a few years. But it's still not labeled, so I guess it's technically not done either. But congratulations. Let's see. Oh, Jacqueline says that she has a granddaughter named Chloe and making her a quilt. Oh, that's sweet. That's precious. And then Glenda says, wow, that's great, Rob. Beautiful quilt. Yes. From what I saw of it, it is very beautiful, Rob. I honestly have not gotten a chance to watch enough of anyone's channels. Like, I'm catching things in passing. Sean tagged me the other day, and that's, I think, the first thing that I've seen in, oh gosh, probably a week? Something like that. Oh, my thread's caught. I was wondering why my thread is not moving. Judy says, oh, Rob, I have to watch it. Yes, absolutely. Gotta go back and watch it. I think I pulled my stitches tight when I did that, you guys. Oops. Oops, oops. Alright, and I'm not going to worry about pulling my cutting board out for this. I'm just going to cut along the drawn line. When I do my client's quilt, I'm going to take the extra time. And I'm going to have my diagonal seam tape up, and I'm not going to draw the lines so that I don't have to worry about, you know, there being anything extra there. Oh, that'd be awesome, Rob. He says hopefully he'll have a completion video of it tomorrow sometime. That'd be perfect. I might actually have time to watch it on Thursday when I can't do anything else. Yeah, Thursday I will probably come home from my infusion and go crawl into bed. Joy says that she gets behind on Tiffany too. Right? I mean, I love her channel, but I can't sew as fast as she can, and apparently can't watch videos as fast as she can either. Okay, I'm going to pull this out because it is in my way. I'm just going to show you guys because I was going to show you guys later. But let me show you guys now. Let me swap cameras real quick. Alright, so I told you guys I took a floor quilt class. This is my floor quilt. The bend in it that you see is from where I have had it just standing up for the last like 30 minutes. But this is the floor quilt that you guys helped me design a few Sundays ago before I went to Quilt, Wyoming. I have not put any anti-slip stuff on it. I've not coated the back. I haven't done anything to it since I brought it home from Quilt, Wyoming. But this is my floor quilt. So it is, I haven't even measured it, you guys. I don't know exactly how big it is. So this is the front side. You kind of can see that it's shiny. It is coated with polyacrylic. You can use polyurethane, but it just takes a lot longer to dry. And then the back is just canvas right now. I have not coated it. If you want to coat it in something to prevent it from slipping, that's when you would coat it. But I haven't had time to do anything with it yet. So it's got some bubbles in it. It's got a lot of imperfections, but you know, you guys can't see it from where you're sitting probably. I mean, you might be able to see like this like bubble right here. But I haven't, you know, tried to get it out yet. But that is my floor quilt. So we're going to see about doing that later, but not now. Let's see. Judy says that she is behind on Breakfast at Tiffany's. Yes. Oh, and Jacqueline, she says, Katie, you've got new pictures of Greenland. Awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. Let's see. Where am I at? I'll be at Imaging Center tomorrow getting MRI. Oh, no, Glenda. Please tell me everything is okay. That this is preventative. Please tell me. And then Judy and Chloe, love it, Tammy. Glenda said, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to try pressing all my seams to the dark. That's not what I normally like to do, but that is what I'm going to do because I'm going to be joining these together, and I will test run another pinwheel too, and I'm going to see what lays better. So that is what I'm going to do for right now, is I'm going to press all these to the dark, and then see how it's laying. See if it's laying flat enough for me, or if I'm going to have to press everything open to get it to lay flat. So what I do, and this is, you know, this is how I do my client quilts. Ooh, Katie says, thank you, Jacqueline. There are more coming in the next few days. Oh, that's exciting. That's very exciting. So when I do a client quilt, what I do is I take scrap fabric and test out any and every block that is in the quilt. So if I were to do a sampler with like 12 different blocks, then I would want to do 12 different blocks in test fabric. Maritza has joined the chat. She says, hola, welcome in, Maritza. Glad you made it, sweetie. So I would literally test all 12 different blocks using scrap fabric. Now, I may choose scrap fabric that I like, that I have enough of in order to test everything. So I basically get 2 quilts for the price of one, because I've got to make the quilts anyway, or I've got to make the test blocks anyway. So, you know, I may do that. Like, I may do it all at the same time. Alright, so these are my half square triangles pressed out. These are not my client's colors, okay? So in case my client is watching, these are not his colors for his quilt. And I do not want anybody to be alarmed that these are not the colors they're going into it. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Rob. He says, Glenda, prayers coming to you. Hope everything turns out fine for you. Yeah, absolutely. We want everything to be okay. We definitely want everything to be okay. All right, so let's see. I'm turning my pinwheel to make sure that they're turned the right direction. And it would be fine to fix it too, so it won't be that big of a deal. And I am going to piece it kind of the way that I would piece it in the finished quilt. So what I do first, especially if I have designed the quilt, is I will take my time doing my first block like this. Then if I am needing to calculate time on how long I think it's going to take me to put all of these together, then I will actually time myself the second time I put the block together. So I will do a second test block, and I will time how much it takes me to put together one block, and then I multiply that for how many ever blocks I've got to assemble. Now with that being said, because I chain piece, when I go to put a client quilt together, this particular quilt project, all of the blocks are the same block, but because I've got so many of them to put together, I will just multiply this by how many ever it takes me to do the other, and then sashing will take that extra time up from there. So I won't do it one block at a time for my client, because I'm not going to. I don't want to charge my client extra time that I didn't actually take to do things, but I do want to plan for the appropriate amount of time to assemble things. And I'm kind of actually glad you mentioned your MRI, Glenda. I actually need to call my doctor's office. So thank you for mentioning it. That actually helps me. I hope that didn't come off wrong, but that actually helps me because I need to call, and I forget to call. They checked out my wrist, and they're now the X-ray technician or the X-ray radiologist or whoever it is recommended an ultrasound of my wrist. So they're saying that it's not whatever's going on with my wrist is not bony, I guess, or didn't show up or something. So I don't know what it is. We're gonna find out. All right. So these are my 2 units. So all I've got to do is swap one and piece those together. So the reason why I went ahead and pressed everything to one side is so once I press this, or once I sew this, I can come back in and unstitch this center and rotate my seams. So everything should lay flat. And that's what we're going to go for. That is going to be part of the process of assembling this quilt, is going to be the amount of time to do these half square triangles, and the amount of time pressing them and rotating those seams, because I do want it to be as flat as possible because it will make it easier to quilt. So we are going to see how this comes out. Alright, so there is the completed pinwheel. Let me grab my seam ripper, which is hanging out underneath my machine. And if you guys have never seen this, are you the only one with no sound? Probably. Is anybody else having problems hearing me? Is it just me? Is it just Glenda? I know on my side it looks like all the sound is going out. Judy says that she has sound. I know I got quiet for a second, so I don't know if that was part of it or not. Does anybody else have sound issues? Is everybody else able to hear me? And my random comments for tonight? Joyce is saying prayers for you, Glenda. Yes, absolutely. All right. So let me grab some paper to put behind this so you guys can see it. All right. So I already have this seam pressed that direction, this seam pressed this direction. So what I want is I want this seam to press this direction and this seam here to press this direction. In order to do that, what you have to do is you have to come in here at this center point and you just have to pick out a few of those stitches to be able to get this to lay down flat. Rayanne is here saying no problem hearing you. Well, welcome in, Rayanne. Glad you joined the chat, sweetie. So that is, and when I do this for my client, I will come back and trim these extra pieces. This is, again, my first test block, and it doesn't line up right, so I will have to experiment with it. Probably if I trimmed it before I put it together, it would line up right. Glenda says, fixing to restart, still having issues. Yeah, absolutely. Tammy, did I ever tell you my daughter lives at Barna? No, you did not, Joyce. No, you did not tell me. That is exciting. She doesn't live far from me. Alright, so this is what I'm going to have to fix, you guys. If you see this center point, all of these points should be hitting that center, and they are not hitting in the center. So I will have some stuff to fix, okay? So this is just making sure that, you know, I know kind of what I'm doing with this block. And that is well more than oversized. So let me make sure what size this is supposed to be. It is supposed to finish at 3 7/8, or just over 3 7/8. So we're going to cut at 4 and that's 4 1/4 there. Let me go 1/4 inch there. We are going to cut it at 4 3/8. So that is what we're going to cut this down to. So let me grab my cutting mat real quick. And let me grab this other camera. That way you guys can see what I'm doing. And of course it is angled kind of weird. Alright, so this is my Martelli cutting mat, and I just laid it on my ironing board. This is not how I normally would cut. So when you are cutting something that is going to be an odd size, you do want to kind of find a halfway point. So half of 4 3/4 is not going to be an even number. However, I do have a 45-degree line on my ruler. And I have a 45-degree line here, again here, and again here. They don't line up exactly with an inch line marking on this ruler, so I'm really not happy with that. But that is what we're going to have to work with, I think. Actually, you know what? Let me go grab a bigger ruler. Bear with me, you guys. I'm going to try not to bump the cameras. Bear with me. Let me get a bigger ruler. And we're going to get one I know will work, in case the ones that I kind of have to work don't want to work. Alright. And I am still getting used to my Creative Grids rulers, you guys. I still have my Nifty Notions rulers. I haven't gotten rid of them. I know they're harder to see on camera, but I have not gotten rid of them. But I do have my Creative Grids, so I'm going to see. No sound and no closed captions. Oh no! The closed captions should be working. Your YouTube has decided to crash, I guess. I mean, let me go make sure. Let me go make sure on my side. Stream settings. And closed captions is turned on. So I think that is your YouTube. That is, it's not on my end from what I can see. I'm so sorry. Terry is here. She says hello from Cheyenne. Welcome in, Terry. I'm here in Casper. Judy says, darn, I'm late. You're not late, Judy. You just have a little bit to go back and catch up on replay. That's how we're going to do it. You're not late. You just have a little bit of replay time to go catch up on. All right, so this is going to be cut 4 3/8, okay? But as I'm looking at this diagonal line, that is not going through the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it until it does go through the center. And this pinwheel is not perfect, you guys. This is my first attempt at this block. So I will have quite a few adjustments to make to it to make it where I'm happy with it. This is definitely not a good sew right now. But we will make it work. So Terry, if you are from Cheyenne, are you did you go to Quilt, Wyoming? Oh, Judy, that's where the problem is. She said she got sucked into the So Yeah neighborhood. Yeah. So Yeah likes to suck people in. I'm so sorry. I can't help you with getting out of it if you get into it to begin with. You just have to come here first. Alright, so we're going to cut this at 4 3/8. My pinwheel is not perfect. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to be redoing this anyway. I just want to make sure that all the rest of my measurements come out fairly accurate. So that's why we're not worried about, all of them coming out accurate. We just need a little bit of them to work. Alright, so my next piece, and this is my printout from EQ. And let me make sure. Oh, this isn't coming out 7.5 either. Oops. So this will be oversized. So I will have to do some rework to resize. But this is again just our first test. But this is why I do test blocks of all of my client quilts. I don't want to end up not having this tested properly to begin with. Alright, so my next pieces are adding my corner triangles. So I did not realize I should have measured, but I did not, my block is not the correct size. The printed block is not the correct size. So we will have some fixing to do. Judy says, oh Judy, that's why I didn't watch tonight. I just ordered a massive amount of sale fabric for some donation quilts. Yep. When you start getting into the So Yeah group, it is kind of hard. Awesome. Terry says that she did not attend Quilt Wyoming, but would like to attend more quilt shows and maybe a retreat. Well, that will be awesome, Terry. That would be awesome. So I do have a couple of quilts that are going into State Fair. So if you are driving up to Douglas to go take a look at those, second week of August or so, I think the drop-off is like the 8th and 9th of August. So I will have some quilts dropped off and in the State Fair. I know one is already completely done. The other one I need to finish quilting. But I am planning to have it quilted and bound in plenty of time. I'm hoping plenty of time. That's what we're going to go with. We're going to hope it's plenty of time. So we are going to see. Judy says, Terry, I would too. I have tickets for Missouri Star Quilt Company birthday bash, but my husband being sick, I probably won't be able to attend. Oh no! That's tough. I feel bad, Judy, because I would love to go to that too. That would be lots of fun. I'd have to get hotel though. That's a long drive. Judy says, oh Tammy, you'll have to post pictures. I will. So the quilt that was awarded, that was the super secret project, that I have been told by the recipient, my husband, that I am allowed to put that in the State Fair. So that quilt will be going into State Fair. Glenda says, okay, hope it is safe. I hope so too. That was disappointing to hear that you were having so many problems. I was very, very disappointed to hear that the problems were there. Because I don't know how to fix them on my end. Have plans to attend the fair, but we all know how that goes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. At least it's in August and not in like November. If it was in November, we would have even more problems going to it. Judy says I watched them earlier and they had these Halloween cats. Had to run to the store earlier and missed them. They were back on and sold out before I could buy. Oh no. Yeah, especially if it's something that you're wanting. That's sad. It's so sad. I have not ordered anything from So Yeah yet. I've thought about it, but I haven't. Now I will say this. I was on, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, so, don't hate me for it. I was on TikTok, and this was probably a couple months ago. So, I don't even know how long ago it was. I mean, but it's a while ago. It's long enough ago that if I wasn't trying to think about it, I probably would have forgotten completely. Glenda says when it rains, it pours. Yes. Yes, it does, Glenda. You're absolutely right. I logged on to TikTok and was watching this one video, or this one live, and they were like auctioning off fabric. It kind of felt like a So Yeah kind of thing. And I was kind of interested. There's some cool fabric on here. And so I asked them if they had an online store that I could go shop at, because I wanted to be able to take my time and see more of the fabrics. Like I was, I'm not an auction person. It's really hard for me to just bite the bullet and go ahead and go, I've got to have that now. Let me have it. I really struggle to do that. So auctions are really hard for me to begin with. So I was asking if they had an online store that I could go shop at. The next thing I know, I'm blocked. Like, I can't even see the video. I can't, see what fabrics they have. I can't, I'm not even commenting normally, but I can't see anything. And I was very, very shocked. But it was they were doing it kind of like So Yeah does their videos. But, so I don't know what shop it was. And again, it was on TikTok. They were speaking English. It was, they sounded like they were in the States here. So I don't know where they were, but that was the weirdest experience I've ever had. But yeah, I haven't bought anything from So Yeah yet. Judy says, it's okay. It wasn't meant to be. Yeah, when you miss something like that, there's something else that's going to come. There's something else that's going to come along that will be a better fit. Chloe says, the Halloween fabric sounds fun, Judy. I agree. I'm not a huge cat person. I used to have cats, but I don't anymore. And I don't think I could handle having indoor cats anymore. I've kind of gotten out of having indoor cats, and I don't think I could transition to having indoor cats again. Cats tend to jump on your counters and, get into everything. And at least if I put something up on a counter right now, the dog does stay out of it. So I think I would struggle with, adjusting to a cat once again if I did decide to get a cat again. I think it would have to be kind of like an outdoor cat. I don't think I want another indoor cat. Not after, getting out of it for as many years as I've been out of it. Alright, so that is looking correct. Let me see what size this says this is. Granted, I'm going to have to change it. Alright, 5.5, so I need to cut this to 6 inches. Mona says, bye. Have a good evening, Mona. Thank you for hanging out. Judy says I got 2 of their Patriot quilt kits, so I think my fabric budget is already spent. Oh, mine is. I can tell you for a fact right now, my fabric budget is gone. It's been gone for a little bit, but my fabric budget is completely gone. I have no more room for fabric in my budget right now. I would love to have some more room. I think once I get this client quilt done, I'll have more money for a fabric budget. We're going to go with that. All right, Joy says, I like their fabric, but I just can't afford them anymore. I understand that too. Maritza is waving at Judy, Chloe, and Joyce. Thank you, Maritza. I appreciate it, sweetie. Alright, so I'm getting this trimmed down to 6 inches. So I apologize that you guys aren't seeing me on the camera. But I'm not going to be over here much longer, I promise. I promise. And let me see. I'm having to rotate my ruler. I'm still learning this Creative Grids ruler. You guys, it is a huge learning curve for me to learn this ruler. Alright, so here's what we're sitting at with so far. This is the block so far. And so now the next step is to add the sashing strips. And then we will be adding the cornerstones. So as long as this is like coming out kind of the right way, then I don't think I'll have any problems with the block overall. I think my main problem right now is going to be correcting the size, because it is definitely not the right size block. Because it is going to be over 7.5 inches, which it was supposed to be a 7.5 inch finished block. Or 7.5 inch, yeah, 7.5 inch finished is what size it was supposed to be, and that is not what it's going to be. Judy says, I have 3 to 4 feral cats that live in my woods. I really think they belong to the neighbors. Yeah, that's usually what cats do, though. You know, they go and find who is going to feed them, and they kind of glom onto them, and I find it personally adorable. That's actually how I ended up with my last 2 outdoor cats. I was living in an apartment complex, and I did live on ground floor in that complex. I do not live on ground floor here, so I don't tend to have that kind of problem. We don't have anybody randomly feeding the feral cats here, so the cats are not accustomed to coming up to these buildings. They might be going to other buildings, but they're not coming up to mine. But my last outdoor cats that I got, one was a gray cat that he was very talkative. Like, I mean, I got to hear your giggles today, Deb. Made my day. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm going to have to go listen for giggles. You guys, that's not fair. You can't keep the giggles from me. You cannot keep the giggles from me. I'm going to have to go listen for them. So the gray cat started like hanging around, and of course we started feeding him, because he looked really, really thin when we first started, feeding him. But I didn't realize that probably about 10 of our other neighbors were also feeding the same cat. And everybody had their own name for him, but he was very talkative, like very, very talkative. You'd say something to him, and he would come back with meow, and he would just meow at you. He would just spend so much time meowing at you. So I'm going to show you guys real quick what this is going to do. So my sashing strips are exactly the length of the block, the inside block. So when I come to this next section, my sashing strips are not long enough. They are intentionally short. They are only the size of the inside block, because they don't need to be any bigger, because they're going to get trimmed off anyway. So that is intentional. It is not an accident, even though this block is the wrong size anyway. So I guess it's okay that the pinwheel didn't work either. But yeah, so the cat was very, very talkative. He would talk anytime you talked to him. He would meow back at you. So the only thing I could think of is naming him Simon, because Simon says, can't get close to these cats. They drive my dogs away. Oh no. Or drive my dogs crazy. Oh no. Well, I have pictures when I first got Paladin, my service dog. He's now 5 years old. But when I first got him, he was 14 weeks. And he was about the same size as the cat. The bigger cat. And then he got slowly, of course, grew, and he could be standing somewhere and Simon could walk underneath Paladin. And it was such a sweet relationship. The two of them got along famously well. Paladin wasn't, cat aggressive, didn't have a vendetta against cats or anything. So it worked out well. Alright, so this is what the edges look like. And pardon the extra thread, but that is what the corners look like. They're going to be trimmed off anyway because this is going on point. So I'm not super worried about it. And then these are the triangles that are going to go on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what is the center of the pinwheel. And this is not, the center of this is not correct. Like the seam is not lining up. But I'm going based off of the point here. So I am putting it on here, lining that up. So if this basically comes out correct, based off the sizing of the block, based off of, what I have a printout of that isn't correct, then we'll be able to go forward with it. And that will probably be all I do on the live today. But yeah, there'll be, we got a lot coming up this week. So again, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll have 2-hour lives each day. I still will have my normal Saturday morning live at 9 a.m. And I will still have my normal Sunday night live at 8 p.m. So you guys are not going to miss out on the normal content just because we have the special project this week. The special project will be in addition to our normal stuff. So you guys will get to see me at 9 a.m. Saturday. We'll be on for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half or two, depending on how I feel like. And then we will be back on at 2 p.m. And I will not work on the special project. I will not work on the Jelly Roll project, except on the Jelly Roll project lives. So do not feel like you're going to miss out on that content. Those Jelly Roll lives will be just for the Jelly Roll project. And the other lives will be just for other projects. Joyce says, my cat is an inside cat. And I think I saw where you were saying before that your cat does leave the house occasionally. But there's no worries in that. There's some animals that are really good about returning and behaving and all of that. I've never had any luck with having an outdoor-indoor cat. All of my cats have either been outdoor or they've been indoor. I have not had any luck whatsoever having a indoor and outdoor going cat. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I am just going to trim up my sides. So I'm going to swap cameras real quick so you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright, so the finished size of this block was supposed to be 7.5 inches. But the finished size of the measured out piece is actually coming out to be closer to 7 3/4. So this is actually bigger than what it was supposed to be. But I'm going to measure my block here to 7 3/4. So it matches what I've already measured to the other side. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to use these 45-degree lines on the ruler to kind of guide where this should land. And we're going to see if we come out kind of close. And I'm going to end up trimming off too much. Okay. Yeah, this is why we do practice blocks, you guys. This is not going to come out the correct size. But it is what it is. Yeah, because this is coming out closer to 7 inches. So, yeah, it is not going to be the correct size. This is like 7 1/8. So this is why you do test blocks. So that way you end up with your correct and finished sizes the first time instead of, you know, having this happen with a customer's fabric. Alright. So we will still keep this block. It's still going to be an orphan block. So never fear. It is not going to go to waste. It is just not going to be a successful block for my client quilts. Alright. So this is our finished block. And this one came out to be, let me go back over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, just under 7 1/4 by just under 7 1/4. So this is definitely not a correct size block. But that is the finished block that I've put together today. So I'm going to bring this over to the other camera real quick. Made with machine. There we go. Alright, so this is the block that we've assembled tonight. This is the quilt. This is the block that is going into my customer's quilt. I just need to do some tweaking to it so that I get my pinwheels straight and so that the block is measuring the correct size. Okay. Let me see, do I have my customer's quilt plan here? I do not think I brought it over. Let me see real quick if it is right here or not. It's not right there. Let me see. I don't think I have it. I think I buried it. Let's see if this is it. Ah, found it. Found it, you guys. Judy says that's cute. Thank you. Alright, so this is the overall pattern for my customer's quilt. So the sashing will have the diamonds at the side. This block that you see that I just made is this block in here, and I apologize if the camera does not want to focus. There we go. So it is a pinwheel block, and these are going to go on point. And this is going to be 38 inches tall and 152 inches long. So there's going to be a lot of blocks in this. I mean, a lot. I mean, I'm zooming. I'm going back out. You guys, there's a ton of blocks in this. So that is what these are going to be. They are going to go into that quilt. They're not this color. This is just my sample block color. So I will do another one of these and get it right. I'll get the sizing correct, and then we will go from there. Before I cut into any of my client's fabric. Chloe says cool design. Thank you. Judy says it's awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Joyce says we bring her back in as soon as she gets out. Too afraid she'll get run over. I live on a main road through town. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Glenda says that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, this is the block, the overall block for my client's quilt. It's just not in the correct fabrics. But I think I kind of like these fabrics. You know, they're all florals. It's all red and pink in the center, and then green and kind of like a cream with green and blue in it. And then the pink is used again for the outsides. So I will probably turn this into like a table topper or something like that, because I'll make a few more of these. I have enough fabric to do that. So I'll make a few more of these, and you know, they'll be orphan blocks technically. But you know, once I get them correctly done, the way that they need to be done for the client quilt, then I can start prepping to work on that quilt. Alright, so that is everything we're going to do tonight. I'm not going to keep you guys super late. If you did come in after the start of the video, if you came in after 6 p.m., the official start time of the video, let me grab this camera, you guys. Then what I need you to do is, if you are wanting to participate in the Jelly Roll Friendly quilt, you can go back and re-watch the beginning of the video to catch back up. You can also go into the comment section or the description of the video. So if you are watching this after the fact, go into the description box below the video, and that will give you the amount of fabrics that you are cutting in order to make our jelly roll friendly project. I am not going to personally be using straight jelly rolls. I am cutting mine from Yardage. If you use straight jelly rolls, your quilt will be smaller, but I will give you those instructions as we get into everything. Okay. If you are using straight jelly rolls, your instructions are slightly different than everyone else's. You will have a little bit of extra waste, a little bit of extra waste, but you will still be able to complete the quilt. It will just come out a different size unless you have additional fabrics to make up the extra. And I will go over all of that as we are going through it. We're going to have 3 sessions. We're going to have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. Friday at 2 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. So we're going to have 3 2-hour sessions. So it is going to be a total of 6 hours of video that will go along with the pattern printout sheet you will get at the end of the series. So on Sunday, when I issue the last of the instructions, I will also have the instruction sheet ready to go up and go on to the links of the videos. So I do not have the video scheduled already. That is what I'm going to work on first after we get off of this video. So you guys will have those there. So if you want to link to them, if you want to turn on notifications for them, you can do that. I am still also going to have my normal Saturday morning and Sunday evening lives. So my Saturday edition and my Sunday after sunset editions are still going to happen this weekend, and they are not going to be dealing with the jelly roll pattern. So you don't have to worry about missing anything. Those you can watch separately and independently of the jelly roll patterns. Yes, Andrea, good call. She says, don't forget Sew and Tell. If you have not submitted something for Sew and Tell, you can either email me or you can join our Facebook group. You can join our Facebook group. I will give more links for that coming up in this following weekend. I will give more links for the Facebook group, and if you need my email address, it should be on the YouTube channel. Just make sure you are telling me when you send me a picture or something that it is for Sew and Tell. If you want to enter Sew and Tell, you need to start doing so if you haven't been doing so yet. It does not have to be a completed project. It just needs to be something that you want to share with the community. It can be a finished block. So like I finished this block today. If I wanted this to be my Sew and Tell, this could be my Sew and Tell. Okay. So you do not have to have everything finished. It just needs to be something that you share with the community, especially if you want to enter for winning the Sew and Tell prize in October. So you do need to start entering now. You have August, September, and October will be the last one. So you've got 3 months left to enter that. Please also, if you are dealing with any mental health trauma, any mental health issues, if you are under a lot of stress or you have a lot on your plate, please take some time out, take a deep breath, make sure that you do not let yourself stay overwhelmed. It is okay to get overwhelmed from time to time, but it is not okay to stay overwhelmed. So please make sure that you take that extra moment to take an extra breath and realize that you are loved, you are cared about, and you have a community here, even if you have a community nowhere else. Okay? So please make sure that you take that time to take the breath and come hang out. There's no obligation to spend any money. There's no obligation to do anything. Just come hang out and take that breath and let yourself recharge. Okay? Mental health is something that you don't need to put on the back burner. It needs to be something that is a priority. Joyce says I need to iron my fabric now. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Chloe says I want to have a finished object, but just no time. I understand. Now, I will say this, okay? I have one of the best clients in the world right now. So my client, we went and picked out fabric on Saturday, and my client took the fabric home with them so that they could wash everything, following my instructions, wash everything, and go ahead and press and starch everything, following my instructions. So I do not have to wash and starch any of the fabrics for my client's quilt. That is already done for me. I have never had that done in my entire life, and it is absolutely a fantastic feeling knowing that when I go to cut into my client's fabric, I do not have to take the extra time to prep the fabric. It is already prepped for me, so all I have to do is get my pattern straight, and then I can start working on the quilt. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, you guys, I'm going to get off of here and get those lives scheduled. Again, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that is 4 p.m. Eastern Time and 1 p.m. Pacific Time each day. There will be a total of 6 hours of video time covering all of the aspects of our Jelly Roll Friendly project. And I am so looking forward to seeing you guys there. You guys have a great evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Don't forget to hit that like. And if you haven't already subscribed, you can't chat.